Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Good Morning Soul. I love when I can actually just wake up in the morning and do these. I can actually get that groggy tone in my voice. Today I'm going to be doing a review of Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 1. And I should probably give a little bit of context. As a child, I was into all the hit 90s anime that like burst on the scene. I loved Dragon Ball Z, obviously. I got into Pokemon, not nearly as much, but got into it. The TV show, that is. Got into Digimon a tiny bit, and also was fairly into Yu-Gi-Oh! For a while. I collected the cards. It was like the coolest thing in the world to me for at least a year. And the TV show I didn't think was as, I didn't watch it religiously or anything. It was something that was on TV once in a while. I remember seeing a couple episodes here and there. I played one of the games. Oh wait, that's not true. I played a couple of the games, and after that, I just kind of went a separate way. I did see a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, and that was pretty much it. I never saw what happened at the end of the Battle City tournament. I still don't know how that ends. And I have no idea what's after that, on terms of this season or this particular program. The other Yu-Gi-Oh! Shows, I have no idea what goes on either. So, I don't know why, but I decided to rewatch Yu-Gi-Oh! And the main reason for this was I've discovered that, like, having YouTube on in the background can get tedious after a while. So I was like, hey, there's TV shows that are, like, just as, if not less, to take advantage of my time. They don't take away my brain power as much as some YouTube videos. And I was like, Yu-Gi-Oh! That I don't have to use any brain power for that. So this was basically a background show for me. Thankfully, there's very slow animation, so I can kind of watch as I work or whatever else. And the characters are all easy to grasp. Everything's easy to grasp. And the plot is pretty, I don't want to say convenient. It's pretty cheesy. I watched this dub, by the way, just for the sake of nostalgia. I did flip back and forth a little bit more towards the beginning, because at first I was like, I don't know if I could listen to these voices. And then as I kept going on, I was like, okay, let's flip back to the dub, or to the sub. And then I watched an episode of Sub, and Yami was like this out of control maniac. He was the complete opposite of the character I knew, and he was worse. He was so much more annoying. So I flipped it back to the dub, and then the dub, like, there was like these bullshit. I was like, 4Kids must have fucked this show up, because there was just so many things. I was like, okay, that's obviously not how it would be in Japanese. That's not how it would be in Japanese. And then there's all these stupid ass plot concepts where I was like, okay, they've changed the plot of the show. Then I flick it back to sub, and the sub is the same fucking way with these stupid ass. I don't know how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Anymore. I haven't played it in fucking years. But the shit that they're pulling out of their ass in this show is some of the stupidest. Like, it's a card game, right? And you would think they would have card game rules, but there's some fucking moisture on the field, so Summon Skull's electricity is gonna fucking do extra damage. Like, what? That stuff like that happens all the time. I'm gonna fuse my monster with this magic card type shit, and that goes on for the entire season. Thankfully they cut down on that a little bit later on in the second season. The second season, they're actually having some actual duels. You know, the life points gets raised. They put up their favorite card. It's a really cool concept in the second season. But for the first season, Duelist Kingdom, shit's flying everywhere. I think we're just here to really introduce these main characters, give them something to do, give a reason to care for them, introduce the Shadow Realm, which that was another 4Kids thing. The couple episodes I was flipping around on was when he fought that weird dark duelist guy, and in the sub, Yami sends him to the Shadow Realm. But I remember this episode a lot because this was one of the few VHS tapes I had when they fought this guy with the castle, the dark duelist. I forget his actual name, pretending to be Seto Kaiba. Terrible concept. But and he's like this weird monster guy. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But Yami sends him to the Shadow Realm in the sub. In the dub, he breaks his mind, whatever that means. So he just left this mind crazed, insane, riddled monster lying here in the middle of an island. That's not worse than sending him to the Shadow Realm. But whatever. You're still a good guy, Yami. Whatever. So we continue with this season, and basically what they're trying to do is reclaim Yugi's grandfather and Mokuba, who is Seto Kaiba's brother, and they've been lost in the Shadow Realm, of course. So they gotta defeat Pegasus, the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh, to win. And little things like, oh well, Pegasus can put cards that don't exist or aren't in circulation. He can just play them. So why can't he just play some Master Control I win card at any point? But whatever. Other than that, there are little parts like throughout the show where they fight these maze guys, like these twins, and it's like, you get to, if you beat us, we'll tell you like this riddle in order to win. I was like, if you don't want me to proceed, if that's your job, that's what you're entitled to do, and you're dueling me for it, why don't you just lock the fucking door and make sure I don't open it? Like, it's not that hard. I doubt these gang of fucking 15-year-olds are gonna fight you for your key, man. Just stupid stuff like that. Like, it's a very stupid show. You kind of have to like I can predict shit like in it too. Like, I'll like be like, what's a dumbass fucking thing for them to do here? And I'll be like, okay, yeah, we're gonna fucking duel for this. Harden the cards. And as that goes on, it's so cheesy. I everything I'm saying, by the way, like, it sounds like an insult, but it should be a compliment, because this was some of the most stupid fucking fun I've had. It's a super cheesy show. Whenever they're about to play a card, they act like they're about to fucking present the Holy Grail to their master. Like, they fling it around like a, hey, that's my alarm clock. They fling it around like it's a fucking, oh shit. You guys know what I'm talking about if you see the show. It's so dramatic. If they lose a duel, they act like they've been injured. Like, Yugi's grandfather has to be sent to the hospital because he got beat up in a Duel Monsters game. Oh god. And the way the tournament ends, we got not Mokuba, but what is the guy's name? Kurama? I forget his name. The white-haired evil guy, whose name Bakura. Bakura? I think it's Bakura. With him getting the Millennial Eye, taking it from Pegasus, I thought that was really cool. I think he's an actual cool villain. Like, if he's the main villain for the entire show, that'd be cool. I'm down for that. But Pegasus, gets this whole James from Pokemon backstory, mixed with him being super wealthy. Like, he's got a heart of gold, and he's actually a good guy, despite everything we've told you the past however many episodes. So it's not a bad ending. And then it's still within season 1, we get these couple after episodes. Like like Yugi's a little bit more famous, so he's got this one weird ass little girl that's trying to fight him. Thought that was pretty stupid. And a lot of the villains in the show, like we got Weevil Underwood and Rex Raptor and Bandit Keith. I hope their Japanese names are a little bit better. But these characters are so comical, so unintimidating. And when Yugi and friends, Joey, who sucks at this fucking game, when he's able to just wipe the floor with them, it's kind of like, oh, okay, so they're shit too. And you don't take them seriously. You like My Valentine, because she's sexy and has a similar name to a Cowboy Bebop character. So you like her, and she's got like a cool aesthetic to her duel monsters. I fuck with the Harpies and the Harpies dragon. And that's one thing I will probably say is one of the best things about the show is the monsters. That's, you know, as a kid, as you played these cards, like, you imagine these giant Celtic guardians and blue eyes white dragons and these red eye black dragons, creative titles. And that was another thing that bothered me. He got this red eyes black dragon in a duel fight, right? And then a couple of episodes later, he has like the card for a fusion with that monster, the Black Skull Dragon. I was like, where the fuck did you get a fusion card for a card you don't have yet? But whatever. Stuff like that is all over this show. And it's the plot of these fights move in such a ridiculous way. You kind of just have to keep nodding your head and be like, yep, okay, that's just how we're doing it. Like, every card moves in such a perfect way of, this is what needs to happen next, this is what needs to happen. And it's not like logical, like drawn out. It's literally just like, okay, how can we waste time for 30 minutes and then eventually get the win? That's how it goes every single episode. And other than that, the only real problem I had was probably the side characters. I don't give a shit. I know I've seen the Battle City tournament, and that's given me a little bit more reason to care about these guys, but I don't give a shit about Tay in the first season. I don't give a shit about Joey. I don't give a shit about Tristan. I don't give a shit about Mokuba. I don't give a shit about the nice version of Bakura. I don't give a shit about the dice guy, who will eventually be a friend protagonist. I don't give a shit about most of them. But I know that they get a little bit more character development. Joey and Mai have a thing later on in second season that's pretty good. And yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts on the first season of Yu-Gi-Oh! I was able to pull out almost 15 minutes worth, so that's not bad. I still have a couple more things to talk about though. Going back to the show, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if maybe I'd get back into the card game. I don't think it really convinced me enough to do that. Like, now that I'm an adult and cards are something that costs real world money now, so it's kind of like, well, I could just play online. So that might be something I get into more. I do know someone that's pretty into Yu-Gi-Oh! And like, they said they would do that with me, so we'll see where it goes. As for now, though, I am completely content with just watching the show in the background, and I've watched a couple other background anime. It's kind of like at the speed I watch YouTube. If I just replace it with like mindless cartoons or anime, then I'm gonna be able to watch a lot more actual real content. Not saying that YouTube isn't real content, but you know what I mean. Anyway, so that was my thoughts on the first season of Yu-Gi-Oh! Again, if you guys aren't familiar with how I'm doing season reviews, this is it. And when I finish the show, I'll do like one big actual review. So, anyway guys, that is what I thought of Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 1. I don't know what I would rate it. I'm trying to do out of 5 scale more often, and I feel like for seasons of TV shows, that would be a little bit easier. So let's just give it a 3 out of 5, which would probably be like a 6 or 7 out of 10. It was a numbing show in the best and worst way possible. And I had a lot of fun with it, and it's very meme worthy. It's very it's so great and so bad at the same time. And that's all I can say about it. Thank you guys for watching as always, and until next time, with that, I leave you.